Welcome to Tales from the Art Side. Today I will be building one of video gaming's iconic characters, Bioshock's Big Daddy. The challenge is this. I will have to use this pile of junk, scraps, and other sundry giblets to build this Big Daddy. Can I do it? Well, let's get started and find out. So I'm going to use XPS foam a lot during this project as my base for kind of the foundation of both the body and the platform, the base itself that the Big Daddy is going to be built on. Here you can see I'm using my janky old homemade hot wire foam cutter. Works great. It's cheap, you know. Do what you can. You don't have to have all the fancy tools. Look at that, like butter. So after I got that built, I used files to begin to just rough shape in the foam body. This will give me a good platform to put in the arms and the legs.
What's that? What's that?
That, my dear, is a piece of a broken telescope. If you've watched the piece in the steampunk video, so you know, getting a lot of mileage out of a broken telescope. These two pieces of foam will make up the floor upon which our Big Daddy will stand. Later I'll transform it into a cracked marble floor with brass inlays. Here I'm sanding and prepping the base. This will give me the foundation for the Big Daddy himself and just roughing that in. The legs of the Big Daddy are made from PVC pipe. Just heating it here to bend it. I want to use that to pose the Big Daddy in kind of an interesting way, a fun way that he's not just static. Gluing on that front piece of faceplate that I got from the telescope, I think it's going to work great. Inserting the legs, just I think using epoxy or something, some kind of glue that I've got worked up there. Figuring out the position and setting tools for the platform. Nice. Now he's kind of a skinny looking dude, but we'll fill him out later. These are going to be the pegs that go up into the pipe to help stabilize the piece. I want to be able to build this piece so that it can be taken apart for shipping or whatever, but is real sturdy altogether when it's on the platform. Planning some kind of the checkerboard pattern. The Bioshock has a beautiful marble floor with brass inlays. We'll try to mimic that somewhat later on, you'll see. These are just old salad, like disposable salad dishes. I don't know, you buy for a lunch or something like that. I was looking at them and thought these are going to make great armor for the Big Daddy. And so, yeah, here we go. Getting those glued in. For some rings around the arms, for some decorative rings around the arms, I'm using these lids. I think they came out of nut jars or something. Crave victoriously, whatever that means. I don't even know how you crave victoriously, but do it, you know. And they make great Big Daddy decorations. Here I'm making the feet, or the soles of the feet actually, that I'm going to prep for the boots. I'm making them now so that I can get them fitted onto the legs, and also make sure that they're going to work, that everything's going to fit together ultimately on that base. Yeah, look at that. He's got little duck feet. Duck feet. So we're going to start filling in those chicken legs. Oh, did you see that? I burned myself. I don't know if you caught that. I burnt myself on that wire. Right now, working on these upper thighs. These are going to be the upper thighs for our Big Daddy, and fill in that bulk so he's looking, looking good. get these thighs glued onto the PVC pipe. They'll work really nicely in filling out the legs, especially once the pants are put over the top. Look at that. Sliding the calves now on. Now look at that. Oh yeah, Big Daddies don't miss leg day. Don't miss leg day. Here for the pants, I'm using actual. These are my old Boy Scout pants. When years ago when I was a Boy Scout, we're gonna use that. Those are not my hands. That's my wife's. She helped me sew the pants up. Look at that, getting his pants on. Who wears the pants? Big Daddy wears the pants. The daddy wears the pants around his house. You know, yeah, whatever. I'm sorry. I embarrassed us all, huh? Sorry about that. But getting those pants on there. These are going to be the kind of leather inserts that go underneath the kneecaps, the knee guards for the Big Daddy. And just getting them prepped and glued on. Look at that. This is a distressing leather. If you notice, just I can scratch it and it'll give some extra details. Here I'm cutting out the feet, the bases of the feet, the main core of the feet. For these boots, I really want them to look nice. I'm going to take some extra time on them. For the toe caps, I thought about using metal, but I decided I'm just going to use a nice piece of leather that'll give me the thickness I want. And what's nice about leather is once it's wet, it's very moldable, as you can see. I can use a bone folder, my hands, and kind of shape that, get it all pinned in. And once it's pinned in, I'll clamp it and let it dry. And of course do that to both. Cut off the excess, and once that is removed, there we go. Got nice steel toes, or brass toes, or whatever kind of toes. Toe protection. Working on the tongues, getting them trimmed up, and the same thing, wet, so they can be molded. Adding some extra little details. For the main covering of the boot, I'm using some old scrap buckskin leather.
2 times 6 is chicken, Mr. B. 2 times 6 is chicken, Mr. B.
I did not know that. Now you know. Anyway, here I'm using old spent 22 shells for the grommets, or the eyelets on the boots. I didn't have anything that small. I couldn't find anything I wanted, so using these scrap 22 shells, and I think they turned out pretty good. Look at that. Get a little stain. And like I said, that buckskin was really nice because buckskin's it's very elastic. It'll stretch, and so I can kind of form it to the boot, to the foot, and get the result I want. Lace up his boots. Yeah, get some laces in there and everything. Make sure those eyelets are going to work, and they're holding well. Putting on the back leather, getting things all just kind of primed. I'm going to paint them in metallic and brass and bronze, so that they can look metallic. So getting those primed and prepped for that. And there we go. A little caulk to fill in some seams. This is just regular old house painter's caulk, and it'll take the paint really well, seal up my seams, So why not use it? Get some trim, a little extra trim and details on there, make it look built. Now at a yard sale, I got a bunch of these googly eyes, and as I was looking through stuff, I thought, oh, these are going to be perfect for rivets. And so all through this, most of the rivets are going to be googly eyes or primers from bullets. You'll see those coming up later on, but they work really well once they're painted. You know, probably if you shake them enough, you can hear little rattles, but don't shake the Big Daddy. Doing the paint work. The trick is, a lot of this paint work is building it up slowly, not just slapping it on. A lot of times I'll use the black base paint and then painting my colors over the top, building them up. So I leave that well, what we call occlusion or dirt, kind of leaving the aged look kind of pre-built in there. We got to cover his loins, make sure he's protected around the crotch. Here, using just some old fruit cups. These are going to be the rings that will go around the upper thighs. There's a lot of rings, a lot of things that'll make out of just old trash, and they'll work, they'll turn out well, and it's cheap and easy. Of course, make sure that they're primed and painted. Again. Oh, there's those primers that I was talking about. These are primers out of, I don't know, pistol primers or something. They've been spent, and they work well, and you can see they've all got the little divot in there, and it gives them a little extra detail. These are going to end up being the rings that go around where the thigh attaches to the hip section on the Big Daddy. Same process, just cutting those out. I was using the lighter earlier to just get rid of the fray. There we go. Look at that. Things are starting to come together. Things are starting to work. Sliding the rings up. Later I'll glue those in. I don't think I recorded that, but and look, new boots. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. He's got a new pair of shoes. Yeah, looking good. Here I'm getting ready to build the lead weights. He has big lead weights that go around his ankles that I assume help keep him down, help keep him grounded while he's diving under the ocean. Again, XPS foam and a paint job, making them look like lead, and age and distress. I couldn't find any buckles that I really liked for the straps around his ankles, and in the process of making this, I found a brass wire that I thought, oh, these are going to work really good. So the only problem is I have to build them myself. I couldn't just buy them, but they're overall, I think they turned out pretty well once they were finished, but just took a little bit. Oh, remember those leftover 22 shells that I cut? They're going to be the roller now for the buckle. Look at that, snap right on there. They fit perfectly. Nice reuse. And I don't even know what this thing is called, but the little wire that sticks through the leather holds it all in. Building that. There they are. There's the buckles. Building the strap and getting it riveted on there. A lot of this, I wanted it to be durable. I wanted it to be fairly strong, even though it's just a display piece. I'm going to pin the foam on, make sure it's glued and firmly placed. Look at that. There we go. You know, I wonder what Cousin Eddie would think of something like this. Oh, he likes it. He says, real nice, Clark, real nice. Cutting a piece that's gonna, well, cover, well, another groin shot, but we'll just skip that. Here we're making the rings that'll go around the knees, and these are just made from old medicine bottles, and as you can see, primer caps again. Here using disposable lens containers, and I use them a lot. We're going to use them later on if you watch these little use of the soldering iron to decorate them, and then prime and paint. Here we go. Get them wrapped on and glued. There we go. Beauty. I wanted the arms to have some kind of articulation, so I'm using two pieces to make this happen. An old shower head and old car phone holder. Both of them have a ball joint that'll work well for the shoulders, and then the wire inside the car phone holder has a flexible, is flexible enough that I think it'll work well for the elbows. Going to attach them. Screw her in tight so it doesn't come loose as I'm moving the arms around. Now, for the right arm, I'm going to have a motor built in so that it'll power the spiral drill and getting all that prepped. So that's what you'll see here for that void there in the hole in pipe. That's going to use that. Run the wire to it, make sure everything's going to fit, and have room to flex it. Oh, we got power. Yeah, more power. Kind of like the legs. We got, buff them up a little bit, put some foam under there. Don't want skinny T-Rex arms underneath there. It works out too. Doesn't just miss leg day. Gets his biceps wet. He's starting to take shape. Look at that. Now I'm going to work on the upper rings on the rings on the upper arm, and I don't even know what that thing is, but it's going to be turned into the drill. Fitting some PVC pipes, and after I've cut them, glue them together using coffee stir sticks for the rivets for the bolts. Here we go. It's time to buff and grind, because there ain't nothing wrong with a little buff and grind. What's that? It's not buff and grind, it's bump and grind. Oh, well, carry on. This is, I think, a McDonald's toy, some kind of Spy-Tech McDonald's toy that I'm using. It just happened to have the right shape, the right size. It was perfect for this build. Glue that motor in, and get ready to build the cage that goes around the actual drill off of the arm attachment. The chest plate, and there's some more googly eyes. Like I said, those worked out good. For the hand, I debated whether I wanted to sculpt it and cast it, sculpt it out of polymer clay. I just end up using the XPS foam and files. I think it turned out pretty well. You can, let me know what you think when it's all finished. Put it in the comments below. Here we go. Just from bigger files down to smaller and smaller details, and ultimately, I think it turned out well. Like I said, got all those pieces primed. This is that outside ring. This is the main outside ring to the drill. I don't even know where I got this wire. It's just a piece of scrap wire. Soldering it together to be strong, and and brass bit. You always have to use brass bits. This is old fence wire that I had laying around. Using epoxy putty to form sort of the joint between where the different wires join together, and something firm. For the blade of the drill bit, again, epoxy putty. It's firm enough, and I can kind of shape it, distress it, put splits and cracks in it. And one little trick that you'll find with this epoxy putty, once you get it on there, you can wet it a little bit, and you can smooth it. Try that out if you ever use it. That's just milliputs, or milliputs, or however it is. I don't know how it's pronounced. Gluing on the upper arm rings with, of course, googly eye rivets. Soldering in the motor, making sure that that's firm and it isn't going to come out. And look at that, coming together. Priming and painting the drill. Building up those layers again. You can see layering in the rust, layering in the metallics, the base, the dirt, the grime. Same thing for the cage around the drill bit. Using those leather straps to hold it all together, that I have a firm foundation to glue to, and then zip tying it on so that so it doesn't come off. There's going to be a lot of torque when that thing gets spinning.
Licorice isn't fried, it's pulled like taffy. Licorice isn't fried, it's pulled like taffy. Licorice isn't fried, it's pulled like taffy.
True. Licorice is not fried. I don't even know if it's pulled like taffy, but the more you know, the more you know. These are glass beads, just the cheap little decorative glass beads, gluing them, and they're going to be the inner lenses, and then another over lens that'll give a good effect. I made a mistake. I started painting before I had primed, so that's got to be stripped off. You can't have that, or you can't have peeling paint. That's going to be bad. So re-priming and painting. Using LED lights, those are going to glow inside his eyes, I guess. I don't know what the lens is. Again, caulk, smooth everything out, fill my seams. Here's that hand all finished and primed and base painted. Going to build up the layers. I don't think I'm even going to show the whole thing, but there it is. And little leather decor on the back of the hand that's actually in some of the reference. Watch this catch. Watch the glue on this. Oh, look, the glue dripping. Oh yeah, that's sweet. That's some skill. Again, leather. I'm using leather for the armor. It was something that I could trying to solve how I can wrap all the armor in curves, and decided leather was going to be the best bet. I could wet it, stretch it, pin it down, let it dry, and it'll form to his body. Lots of pinning. You see now that it's dried, it's ready. It wants to just form right back to his body, and it's easy to glue down.
Hey, look!
More beautiful googly eyes. She liked it, I guess. It's really starting to kind of take shape. I'm getting excited at this point because I can see all the work starting to come together, and it's going to be fun from now on. It's just going to be detailing and prepping, even when he's in this black form. Here I'm using 9mm spent 9mm bullets as decorative pieces. They're going to be the I don't know, the part that holds on the cage around the face. Here I found some wing nuts, some small wing nuts in the garage, and they were just perfect. Actually, I saw it in the reference. In some of the concept art, he has these wing nuts that hold on that chest plate, and they were perfect. Got lucky on that. Again, here's those disposable lens cases, and I punched them out, glued them to these rings. I got these brass rings again at a yard sale. Thought, oh, these are perfect. These are going to be perfect, and they work as a secondary outside lens, and it gives a nice effect, kind of that, I don't know, kind of an eerie glow to the light coming out of the eye ports. Base of the head cage, and begin final paint, or I don't know about final, but base paint, the actual painting. He's starting to look good. Little green, little algae, little oxidation. I'm gonna do a lot of that later, but look there. Again, more bullet primers as for rivets and bolts and whatever they need to represent there. Here, getting the face cage prepped. I'm just going to tack glue these on with hot glue. These aren't, and then just to pin them in place. They aren't going to hold at all using this, but just pin it long enough that I can get the epoxy putty on. There's a lot of planning and just trying to get these pieces figured out, measured, making sure that they were going to fit. Epoxy putty, and I'll go through, kind of rough shape those in, and then later file them, clean them up, put little rivets and dimples and things to show rivets. Here we go. Here we're doing the waist weights, the weights around the waist, that it's like the ones around the ankle. Same process. Not much different. Just it's going to be, instead of the ankle straps, it's going to be a big belt that'll go around his whole body. It's always kind of fun to do this. Just making sure it's going to work. Here we go. Like I said, I'm getting excited. Things are starting to come together. Starting to really see the final. And that starting to feel like, hey, I'm gonna actually be able to pull this off. This might work. And whenever you start a project like this, it's like, oh, is it gonna turn out? There's an edge to a ice cream bucket. I think is the ice cream bucket lid. Punched it. This that holds the belt up. This now is, and I'm starting to work on the pack, the power pack too, that he wears, whatever it's made out of, but the little pressure tanks and things. This is made out of an old float, I think a toilet float, like some kind of valve, and 9mm shells and other sundry giblets, as you can see, just various bits and pieces. Dried up design marker, gonna cut that off. It had some nice detail on the end that I want to use that as on the pipe that's coming out there. I'll reuse the ends that I cut off, and PVC pipe. Check this out. I'm gonna use some 20 gauge shotgun shells, stick them in the PVC pipe, and I think it'll work. Later on you'll see how those will come together. I had to build the valve on there, just didn't have anything that was directly going to work, so I had to kind of build it out of various pieces again. Those are coffee straws, just painted coffee straws to kind of build that frame. The bigger pack part, it looks like a spray can, so I took an old spray can, emptied it out, cleaned it out, and cut it down, and then flipped. I'm going to invert the bottom so that it's no longer concave but convex. It looks much like the pack that he wears in reality. There's those tops of that pin, or that marker. Some wire that wraps around, holds that pack on. Of course, you got to cut those off and glue that on. It's going to be good. Getting all these pieces just assembled. It's starting to take shape. This is a shotgun wadding, as you can see there down in the corner. I was looking for something that'll work as a gauge, and there's a big gauge that comes off of this tank, so that shotgun wadding worked perfect. And we'll just draw up our inner gauge numbers or pressure lines. There we go. That'll get glued in later. Here we are, painting again. You'll see that same process, building up the layers, building up the grime. Not trying to work it too fast. That way you get that depth, that aged look. Yeah, glue that lens in and finish the painting. There we go. Attach get those pieces attached, and the major parts are done. Now it's just going to be small detailing from this point on. Oh, I wanted to build sort of a port or a system that would hook the pipes to the drill, or the tanks to the drill, and so forth. They aren't in the actual model, but they just made sense to me that there had to be something that is running that drill. And they probably didn't build it in the original game just because of poly count and trying to reduce. You can't. It's hard to put those kind of details in there. They're kind of heavy and expensive to build. So now we got ports that are going from pack to pack, and then from there out to the drill. Time for the base, because you know we're all about the base. Sorry. Anyway, gluing that down to a piece of cardboard or masonite, putting some nice felt pads on, because you know we're quality around here. We want to make sure we don't scratch a tabletop or something. Look at that. Making some plans. I found this cool bottle. We'll talk about it a little later. Here I cut out this piece of this old keyboard, and I'm going to use it as a vent. Put some lights down in there, some up lights that'll go underneath the Big Daddy, and they also will be a means to wire the Big Daddy to the whole system. Another part of the vent. Some old wire that I gathered somewhere. Yeah, when you do this stuff, you gather a lot of junk, and you end up using it if you watch for the right stuff. Building debris on the base, a lot of destruction down in Rapture. Put some rebar in that's busted, and trying to add those little details that'll look cool later on. Get masonite board to trim out the foam around the base, make it protected, and also later on when we paint it, it'll look like some nice steel plates. Here I'm using some leather as the corner pieces. It's easier to bend than the metal, and I wanted it to look thick and heavy, so gluing those on, and they'll cover the pieces up bigger. Oh, look at that, big googly eyes as rivets. Here I'm using a zip tie. Has these little ribs and stuff. They'll look nice when they're all painted. Prime the whole thing. And here's that bottle. This comes from an air freshener refill bottle, and it was just the perfect shape for the plasmid container. Filling it with some red-colored epoxy.
Time for more Adam.
Little sisters are getting stoked. They can feel it. Just have to build. I'm using the epoxy putty again to sculpt in the details of the actual plasmid bottle. The little top, the base that goes on the plasmid, the ribs. You'll see all that coming up here soon. Like I said, remember, you can wet that, kind of sculpt it, soften it up, so it doesn't stick to your fingers as well. Trimming off the excess. Gotta get creative sometimes on how to do that. Sculpting the face in. And now time for the ribs. It has these, they tend to have these big, 4 ribs that come around. There we go. If you like this video, would you kindly like, subscribe, and share? Now it's time to make those the marble floors, painting in that checkerboard pattern onto the marble floors, and building up the layers to give it that depth. That it's old, cracked, worn marble. Little rust on the rebar, details on the rock, and not rock, but the broken fragments of concrete and so forth. Using just a stylus to push in cracks and details into those into the floor tiles. There we go. Rust, using some brass tacks. Oh, see, we're getting down to the brass tacks. You know it's almost done. The little brass inlays in the floor. Again, these were like yard sale things, some kind of packaging, a bunch of little brass things. It was really nice. Worked out well for this project. Sometimes you buy stuff and you're like, I don't know when I'm going to use it, but I will someday. And the metallic painting on the plasmid bottle. There we go.
Look, Mr. Bubbles, Adam!
She's stoked. Trying to figure out where to put it. I think I'm going to end up setting it somewhere in there and gluing it down. Here I'm putting stains, oxidation, rust, just fine details in the paint to make everything believable, make it feel like he's been down in the depths of Rapture. For the final touch, I'm going to add an epoxy puddle from all the leakage down in Rapture. And I think it's time for the final showcase.
Unzip him, Mr. B! Unzip him! I'm ready for dream time, Mr. B.